Good morning. I'd like to call the Highway Building Committee meeting to order for this Thursday, June 16, 2022. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Hess? Mr. Tholen? Ms. Weber?
Present.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Long? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Bryan? Mr. Collins? Ms. Hudson?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? Mr. Galler? Mr. Raymond?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Seroy? We have a quorum.
Thank you. I don't have any public comments on my desk, so there's no public comments. Any public comments? No public comments. So I'm gonna need a motion to approve the minutes from May the 12th, 2022. Mr. Featherland and second, Mr. Smith. Everybody in favor signify by say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next will be the highway.
Okay, there's no bidding or letting this month, nothing out there. I'll dive straight into the pay estimates. First one we have is for Kankakee County, section 22-00000-00 GM supplement to for AC pavement striping in the amount of $210,130.07. Next up, Kankakee County, section 22-00000-00-GM. This is for stone from Vulcan Construction Materials in the amount of $1,134.31. Next is Aroma Township, section 22-01000-00-GM to AC pavement striping for microsurfacing in their township in the amount of $77,777.64. Next is Yellowhead Township, section 22-17-000-00-GM to AC pavement striping for microsurfacing in their township in the amount of $49,951.95. Next is Essex Township, section 22-03-000-00-GM to Grasso Construction for seal coat in the amount of $33,194.07. Next is Salina Township for Grasso Construction, more seal coat. Section 22-14000-00-GM in the amount of $22,142.15. Next is Pembroke Township, section 22-11000-00-GM for equipment rental in the amount of $3,405.62. Okay, next one is Salina Township, section 22-14000-00-GM. This is for equipment rental in the amount of $40,000.00. Next is Norton Township, section 22-09000-00-AS to, this is estimate number 2 and final, to Toby's Construction in the amount of $14,078.40, and that's for pulverization of a road in their township. Next is Pembroke Township, pay estimate 2, section 22-11000-00-GM supplement 1 for aggregate repair in their township in the amount of $45,639.71. Next is Essex Township, section 22-03000-00-GM, estimate number 2 to Vulcan Materials, and this is for stone for the township's road use, the amount of $38,807.70. Next is Otto Township, section 22-10000-00-GM. Pay estimate 1 to Vulcan Construction Materials for road mix for use on their highways in the amount of $1,754.52. And next, from the matching tax fund, a pay estimate for our county section 22-00000-00-GM non-MFT money to Gallagher Asphalt, pay estimate number 2, and the amounts on the second page, but the total amount is $210,906.61. And that is the entire list of pay estimates for this month.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Mr. Hunter. Do I have a second? Mr. Smith will second that. That will be a roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Hunter?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Raymond?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Okay. So next on the agenda will be the resolution, correct?
All right, I've got a few of them here. First on the list is a declaration of highway equipment for surplus, and we have a little PowerPoint to go with that. Just showing you what we've got. First one is was originally for Jim Pekarchik back in the day. That was his vehicle, and it's due. It's in fairly good shape, but we have a few extras, and that one can be surplus. Next one is the 2004 Ford Expedition. Again, we have vehicles other than these that can be used it's reached the end of its life pretty much. It's 18 years old and it's starting to show it. To our trucks, 2009 International 7400, it's a single axle dump. Same deal, it's why it's here, it's on the surplus. It's kind of showing its age as well. Next up, these are the attachments that go with the snow plow, the trip edge snow, or with the truck, the snow plow, and then the tailgate spreader, all were parts of this truck. And we didn't have a whole lot of equipment. We kind of cleaned house last year, I guess. All we could drag up was a check protector, if anyone needs one of those. It prints the little braille dots on, and it gets your number on your check, and but we don't use it anymore, so we'll see if someone else can. And last, well, we'll see. We'll put it out there and see if someone wants it. Last is a whole stockpile of obsolete filters for either equipment that we don't have anymore or we don't need. So, and something new about this year, I just want to let you know, we usually have a garage sale. This year we're going to switch that up and try an auction sale. Going through govdeals.com, where they don't charge us to sell the equipment. They charge a buyer's fee to whoever bids on it. I think with the environment right now, with the equipment we have, I think we'll do better. But we will also advertise this local, so everyone local has a chance to see this, and then we'll know after the auction if we sell this stuff to people far and wide, and then the auction sale is probably the way to go. But we will we'll advertise it in the paper this year so people know this is what we're doing, and we'll, like I said, we'll pass it out to the highway road commissioners and whoever else interested municipalities in the county. And at some point we'll advertise it for the open it up for bids for a week, and everyone will have a chance to go in there and bid against each other. Mr. Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Carrico. The source of funds that purchase the equipment, is it largely MFT?
No, it's county highway.
So it's local taxpayers are funding the purchase of that equipment
In the
Through the
when we
levy.
first bought it,
through the levy?
I guess so. Yes.
I'm wondering if we should explore the idea of rebating local winners of the auction, the seller's fee, since it was their tax dollars that purchased it. I don't know if it's in the agreement, but you may check that out. Since local taxpayers contributed for it, I don't know that they should pay a fee that they normally wouldn't pay if we did the auction. I hope that makes sense to you. It may work out that we make more money anyway, but I think we should consider it.
I'm not against it. I don't know how to
You
implement
know what the
it. but
percentage is?
12.5%.
Wow. Well, you'd have the selling price of everything, correct? And you'd know their address on where it was purchased from, correct?
Yeah, we probably got everything somewhere in our files. Yes.
No, when it's on the auction site. You'll get a report of where the purchaser is.
Right. They'll tell us who they are, what they bid, and we have the right of first refusal. We don't have to accept the high bid if we don't want to accept it. We check a box and we can either resell it or, like you say, we can go local with it.
I'll leave it up to the committee. It's just a thought.
Mr. Featherling?
Shouldn't we be giving the people that purchase it, like Andy said, first right to buy before we go to these auctions and stuff, the local people?
Well, the good part about this auction is even if you have a high bid and we don't have a reserve, we reserve through the website, we have the right to not accept the bid. So even though it's a high bidder, it may not be the way we go, and they allow us to do that.
Just some small local business that pay taxes all year might want to buy the dump truck or the plow or something, and I think that they should have the first right to purchase it over somebody on the internet that's going to come from Nebraska and buy it.
Would it make sense to allow them to match the high bid? Then, because if someone bids 1,000 local and then the winning bid is 5,000, okay, where do you go from
Yeah,
there?
but then they have to pay the fee, the 12%, which, like Andy's saying, shouldn't we have a local sale and just invite the local people there and let them bid on the stuff first, and then after that put the stuff out to auction?
That's why I was kind of combining the two, so it's a local people will not be forgotten about. They're notified, hey, this sale's going on.
If it isn't wrong to have a $50,000 bid for a dump truck and have somebody local bid 5,000, you're gonna give it to the local guy for 5,000 and not sell it for 50.
That's why you'd think they'd be allowed to match the high bid. Okay, if you want it that bad, here's what someone was willing to pay for it. If you want it,
because some local dealer is gonna scarf up that Impala with 90,000 miles on it. That's no miles for a 07 car.
Chairman Wheeler?
I love the idea of the auction and getting the most you possibly can for it. But then if it's a local winner, then, they could ask for a rebate of their local, 12%. And we've made that $4,000 spread in the example that you've already had, and we're rebating, what, $1,200? I mean, or whatever. I mean, we're still money ahead. I don't think if you limit it only to local, then why do the online auction at all? I love the idea, but I just think we should consider as a committee letting locals get a rebate on that 12% fee. That's my only suggestion. It's either one or the other, in my mind.
Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have you checked with, gotten any feedback from other entities who've done this?
checked with,
To find out how it's gone.
I'm aware that Sangamon County uses this service, Christian County. There's others that I don't remember, but I looked at the counties. It's kind of trying to compare apples to apples.
And have you verbally talked with them about feedback?
No, I haven't.
You might want.
I just know Sangamon has a whole list of equipment.
Sure.
They use them for everything they sell. Yeah. And I guess if they didn't like it, they would have been done with them long ago.
Right. I was just thinking about local entities. For example, Pembroke. They need everything they can possibly get their hands on. But you indicated that they would be notified as well too.
Right, everyone, we don't want anyone to not have a chance to bid on it.
I don't think they have any shoe boxes full of money, but I just want to make sure that, Sam and Mark, the mayor and township supervisor, are fully aware of this stuff. Not only this, but in the future as well.
I noticed that Pembroke had rented a single axle dump truck, you know, and they pay to use it when they rent it, when they need it, so I don't have to maintain it, obviously, but
What the equipment rental is for, they buy the equipment, but they can't use MFT to pay for it. So where they get reimbursed is in the hours they use the equipment. They charge equipment rental, but they own the equipment. So that's how it operates.
Chairman Wheeler?
My last question, do you intend to let all the road commissioners in the county know? Because they have to come to you because you're their engineer. I'm sure they will all know about it.
Right, that was one of the items on the last page there. I would notify all the township road commissioners, and I assumed some of the local, like Bradley and Bourbonnais and Kankakee as well.
Any other comments? So should we have a motion with the, maybe implementing the proposal from Chairman Wheeler? Anybody else has any?
I'm not clear as to what we're going to do. I mean, there's been several comments about what we should do in terms of rebate and this other stuff. I mean, what are we actually going to do on this in terms of implementing what he wants to do? So I'm clear in the motion.
Chairman Wheeler, could you clarify a little bit your idea?
It was just the discussion point. It's not a motion for me. The discussion point was to agree to put it on to maximize the opportunity to get money out of this used equipment is to put it on the website that goes everywhere. That was to accept it. I love the idea, but then also should we do a local rebate for if the local person is the highest bidder of that 12% fee? Because it was their tax money that paid for that equipment in the first place.
Okay,
That's
so
all I was throwing out there as a discussion point.
it's just a discussion, just an idea. So we're just talking about the motion would be for the department equipment of a surplus.
Right.
That's what the motion is going to be, and then it's an idea for him to take into consideration.
Right, and whoever makes the motion could have that be part of the motion, or just, yeah, let's do the website.
Right, that's what I was trying to figure it out, if that can, whoever makes the motion, that can implement that into the motion, the idea that was given by Chairman Wheeler. Mr. Fedlin?
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Chairman. That we include the rebate of the 12% if it's purchased locally. Okay?
Okay, can I have a second, please? Mr. Smith? Okay, that will be voice vote, so I'm sorry? Oh, sorry about that.
Thank you. I just wonder, the term local, is it, how long do they have to be local in order to get the rebate? So can somebody move in an office into town and say, oh, I'm local now, so I want the rebate? Or does it have to be a company that would have actually paid the taxes?
Well, this is getting tricky here. When I thought local, I was thinking anybody in Kankakee County at the time. I got rebate checks through my school district, and you had to be the owner of the house at the time of the check. Renters were annoyed, but they weren't the owner, so they didn't get the money.
Have a business year at the time of the auction, not at the time of the purchase of the item, and have paid taxes through the period.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Mr. Smith, you agree with that too? Okay. All right. So that is resolved. So then we need the vote for that, and there will be a voice vote. Everybody in favor signify by say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? I'm sorry. A roll call you want? Okay. Okay. Now we are to spend the money because of the 12% rebate. Before wasn't. Right. Makes sense. Thank you.
Mr.
All right.
Oh, right.
Go ahead.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dunnell?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Raymond? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next will be the improvements under the Illinois Highway Code.
Okay, next up, this is a resolution for IDOT appropriating funds for the improvement of Mantino to Selm Road, County Highway 9, just from our MFT account, which using rebuild, all of our Rebuild Illinois funds will be used on this project, and we're just appropriating that money to get through the design and construction stages and the preliminary. I'll talk more about the preliminary with the next resolution.
Let me go with the Mr. Hunter first. Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
do you have a comment, a question?
Clarification, and for the people that might be watching, exactly where this location is, because you use numbers and you say areas and people don't know.
It's between Route 45, 52, and Route 57. IDOT's gonna have a interchange reconstruction at the interchange, and then this job will connect up to it and take us all the way to 45.
So this is for the engineering and the design.
And some of the construction funds. So this is Rebuild Illinois money. I could move it all over the place and spend it on different things, but this is such a massive job that I can just devote all this money to that project and a lot less paperwork.
Okay. Are we gonna get to see the design drawings before they're finalized or no?
Yes,
Yes, okay, okay.
coming
Thank
up
you.
in the next resolution.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yeah, and if I'll just briefly speak, because both of these are connected. This is an MPO project, Metropolitan Planning Organization. It's where all the communities pool their money, the MFT money. The county's end of it, since it's our turn at bat, so to speak, is to pay for the engineering. That's our skin in the game, and then the MPO dedicates, I believe, 4 years of funding, Ben? It's 4 years of funding. We all pool our money so we can get a substantial project done. Otherwise, we're nickel diamond stuff up like curbs and gutters and all over the place. So it's really an example of all communities working together to get these community-wide impact projects done. So we're not going to be paying for the construction per se, carrying all the water, but this is our skin in the game, is the engineering, these next two items. And what it is, it's I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, is it 2 lanes each way from 45 to 50 with a suicide lane in the middle, they call it, which is a turn lane? Better not be a passing lane on like it is on 17. So you know what I'm saying, but that's what you worry about, is it doing that. But it's going to really be a nice improvement, along with widening. I believe they're doing some work on the bridge there, correct?
So, yes, Mr. Chairman. So this is a 5-lane urban cross-section proposed from 45, 52 to the bridge approach at I-57. And this will match, to Greg's earlier point, this will match the work that's being done by IDOT for the overpass work at 9,000. So the biggest concern we had at the MPO is we didn't want to build a 5-lane bridge and then go back to a 2-lane road, or build a 5-lane road and go back to a 2-lane bridge. So the goal is this will be congruent through the entire project. It will utilize our funding through the MPO. And we can match, it's like an 80-20, we can match with local funds. We fortunately have received this rebuild money that must be utilized, and Greg can probably go way further into this, but it must be utilized on a bondable project, so we can't just resurface with it. So this is an opportunity for us to better utilize those funds, combine them with some more federal funds, and get a big project done for just a little bit of local dollars.
Thank you. I believe I had a motion by Mr. Hunter to begin. Can I have a second? Mr. Donnell, second. And that's gonna be a roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell?
Aye.
Ms. Weber? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Hudson? Mr. Smith? Mr. Raymond? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next.
All right, the last resolution I have is related in some part to the appropriation. This is the resolution to allow the county board chairman to sign an agreement for engineering services with Hutchison Engineering. What has happened is we started this project so long ago in the early 2000s and had gotten the preliminary engineering done. Well, it has sat for I don't know how many years. Now we have to update that, and IDOT has different hoops that we have to jump through. Some of the laws have changed and the rules. They actually have a form that we have to fill out with the checklist of items we have to go over, and we have to redo, I think, soil borings and stuff like that since it's so old. And what this is allowing them to complete that part, get the phase one, the preliminary stuff done, and start on and complete phase two, the design engineering, get the plans done. When the plans are done, or in that process, that's when you'll start seeing them.
Mr. Featherling?
Originally on that project, I was on the planning commission in Manteno for 23 years, and we had worked with Mr. Van Mill at that time, and I believe Brian Billingsley might have been involved in some of it too, where we actually had it set up. We got the setbacks and the spacing for the 4 lanes with the island boulevard concept, with the concrete island down the middle with the trees and all that stuff in it, with the lighting all the way down. And that's the drawings that I was aware of at the time on the planning commission. You're talking about 07 or 06 or something like that. I was involved in that. And is that you're not going to do that concept again? You talk about suicide lane. That's not the same thing as a boulevard effect.
My plans are as old as yours, and I don't know if the village has any different comments on that, but I assume if there's landscaping islands, that it's probably going to have to, the village is going to have to contribute to that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't answer that for sure.
Okay. Well, we have the setbacks to allow for it, so.
The setbacks.
We got the setbacks, the right of way.
The right of way. That would be part of this agreement too, is defining what right of way we need and actually going out there and getting it.
Mm-hmm. It's there.
Chairman Wheeler?
Yes, the Village of Manteno's is the local partner on the bridge project, not us. We start after the bridge. Let's say where the exit stops. That's when our project, or the bridge stops, that's where we start. And that's what I'm under the standing of when we were working on this with Mark Rogers, was that was the nature of it. And I believe what you would have probably been looking at might have been the first 100 yards of that, and then it goes back. So I don't think it includes islands there at all, to be honest, our end of it. That would be up to the village to pay for.
Right, and usually if the village wants something with IDOT, the village has to pay for it.
Yep.
So.
They're aware of the different things on the bridge they want to do. They're aware where they're paying for all that type of stuff. So
Okay.
we probably should work with the planning commission in Manteno and find out what their goal was for that road before we start doing a bunch of engineering, and then they call in and say, hey, we wanted this down the middle and this, and then you got to change it all.
Ben?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, thank you. So Mayor Nugent is very involved in the MPO process. Chairman Wheeler, Greg, before Greg, Mark, myself, the mayor, the director of public works have all sat down and talked about both of these projects because they directly affect commerce in the village of Manteno. I do know that there are some wants that Manteno has for the bridge. We're certainly happy to talk through some wants because there might be a pedestrian path. We as a county, we don't do pedestrian work. We do roadway, curb to curb. That's the stuff we work on. Sometimes when we do projects like this, though, if the village is interested in doing additional pedestrian paths within the right of way, that's a relationship we have with them. They bear that cost. So we're happy to have that conversation with them. It really is going to come down to Manteno's wants under the current regime as far as the road's concerned. We're looking at a 5-lane urban cross section for moving traffic, reducing congestion, making it safe. Pedestrian islands, although planted islands, although they're pretty, they don't necessarily meet that or help us meet those requirements. So we're going to look at this from our matrix as we make sure that the project is safe and reduces congestion and checks all the boxes the Federal Highway Administration requires us to do. Obviously, we'll work with Greg to make sure that project gets done that way. If the Village of Manteno wants to intercede and do additional things, we can certainly consider them. But really, the goal of the project is to get people moved up and down 9000 Road.
Chairman Wheeler, you had a comment?
Yeah, that was just it. I'm the chair of the MPO. Mayor Nugent is the vice chair. We've talked about this over and over. Now we're to the phase where they would have that input on what we're doing, but our plan is that 5 lanes. If like, as Ben said, if Manteno wants to add things, that'll come as part of this next phase that we're starting to jump into.
I didn't want to see everybody spend a bunch of money on engineering and have the village go, oh, well, we wanted this, but now I know the mayor's involved, so.
Any other comment or any other question? Hear none. So we're gonna need a motion and a second. Motion by Mr. Featherling, second by Ms. Weber. That will be a roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Ms. Weber? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Hudson? Mr. Smith? Mr. Raymond? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Do you have anything else for us?
That's all I have.
Thank you very much, sir, and have a good day.
Greg, was the bid letting for the Armor Road project that we are doing between the bridges, is that let this week or next?
I'd
I
have
know
to
it's
go-
coming.
I'd have to go look at
Have you
IDOT
heard?
web. Is that an IDOT letting?
Yeah, it's an IDOT let.
I'd have to go look on their
Okay,
website.
it's imminent, so everybody knows those bids are being let, so, little pain, but it'll be fixing the worst corner in the county, so let everybody know. I don't know when it's on tap for construction, I imagine next year, but they're doing the bridge. It'd be better to close one side of it all at once and then close the other side, rather than pull the band off slowly for 5 years. So, we're working on it. I just want to let everybody know it's a good project.
Okay. Mr. Hunter?
Yes, thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. Greg, with your transition, if you had a magic wand, what would you change? And what's the most difficult vicissitude or that you're experiencing thus far?
It's just the old history, knowing what happened in the past, and there's a lot of places to find the information. We have computer files all over the place. Jim had computer files. They're in a folder, which is in a folder in Mark's files, which Mark gave to me when he left. So if I'm looking for something, I'm going through a lot of channels to try to find old history. But thank God we have enough people that are here, they can shortcut that. We have enough staff that have been through some of these wars and can at least narrow my search down a little bit. That's probably my biggest issue, is old history.
Okay.
Anything else? Oh, have a good day, sir. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, buildings. Mr. Andrews.
Got it.
Morning, Wes.
Morning. All right, we'll jump right in. Facility dude report for the month of May, 237 work orders. That's outrageous. We're usually about 100.5, as you know, 160, 170. 237 work orders, that's a busy month. Financial report that you have in front of you there, you can see prior year at this point, we're at 523. We're currently sitting at 518, which I'm pretty happy with. You'll see under building improvements, 87,510. That's where a lot of the building improvement money is going to until we are able to consolidate everything and move it to ARPA. So Andy, I don't know, is there anything you want to add on that? I mean, that's pretty basic, right? Okay, so that number is going to continue to run ahead until such time that I can get with Chairman Wheeler and Steve McCarty and transfer funds appropriately. So, any questions on the financial report? All right, if there's no questions on that, we'll move into the building report. We'll start here at 189. The duct cleaning is done, so the entire building has been cleaned. I saw some photos from ServPro that did the work. Many of the ducts were very dusty, so it was happy to report that it was money well spent. Took them a couple weekends to complete, so I'm happy to report that that is done. The elevator, you'll be happy to hear that that is done as well. We're just waiting on the inspection, which is currently scheduled for June 30th. So knock on wood, just shy of 2 years, we're gonna have the second elevator up and running. So let's see. We talked about this at the last month's meeting. The computerized equipment that controls our elevators now, we're all aware that it's up in the penthouse and it's temperature sensitive. We talked about that. because of the heat that we're currently experiencing, I moved it as fast as I could. So I got 2 bids on adding permanent HVAC up in the penthouse. I think it came to about $18,000 for the, we went with the ductless mini splits, similar to what we did at the old jail. And then we had to run electrical up there too to satisfy that. So all total, I want to say the project is probably going to be about $28,000. Now, that should be covered by insurance. I've already been in communication with them. They're aware of the expense. But I didn't bring the numbers to this committee because it's supposed to be 90, it was 99 degrees yesterday, it was 98 degrees today. I even went out and bought a temporary cooling unit. We added another one, so I bought 2 because I didn't sleep well the last few nights knowing that, you know, we could potentially lose that elevator if it got too hot up there. So happy to report that the new unit is up and running, the permanent unit. With the temporary units, we couldn't really get it below about 80, 82 degrees up there. When they turned on the new one, it went to about 72 in about 10 minutes. So that's going to be a good thing. Excuse me. So the next issue, it's like once you do one thing, it creates another problem. So I need to get the penthouse added to my computer system for monitoring purposes. So when I can bring up, I got all 6 floors on the computer. Well, I don't have the penthouse, so I'm going to need to get with Johnson Controls or Precision Controls and have them come out and figure out how we add some stats to the penthouse so I can monitor the temperature up there. And we've got 2 units now. One will be set at 72 degrees, one will be set at 74 degrees. So if 72 degree unit, for whatever reason, would fail, when it got to 74, the backup unit would kick in. And then I would be able to monitor that. If I knew the temp got to 74 and we were there, I would know that the first unit was down and we needed to figure something out and get a service call put in. So that's the plan for the penthouse. Knock on wood, I think the worst of this is behind us, hopefully. But like I said, I've been keeping all the invoices, and there's going to be a considerable add to the insurance claim with all the issues that we've encountered with regard to the elevator, from the piping to the insulation to the penthouse HVAC. I mean, there's going to be a lot that gets added to it. So, any questions on the elevator?
Mr. Featherland?
Is that the recommended 72 for the controls?
That's what they had told us, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm wondering about, as far as being temperature sensitive, what about extreme cold?
That's my next question. I was gonna cross that bridge here once we got through this, but there is radiant heat up there that's attached to the boiler system. As you know, with this building, we fight air blockages throughout the system, and sometimes the top floors have issues with that. So this coming fall, when we're readying the boiler system, we're gonna need to make sure that all the air is bled out of the system and make sure the radiant piping up there is working as it should, because that area is heated. But sometimes the further, up there you go, it gets a little more difficult. So, all right. Compressor issues, which is a annual thing here in this building. Large unit on one, we had a compressor go out. That'll be a considerable expense. We had another compressor go out on first floor, so we actually had 2 that went out. So those are both items that we're working on right now. At the direction of Ms. Speckman, we have some active shooter preparedness training that we're going to go through here at this building. We've got two dates, June 23rd and July 7th. So I coordinated the training with the sheriff's office, and all the employees in this building will go through the training. So that, again, that's on those dates, the 23rd and the 7th, which I think, with the current state of events in this country, that's probably, that's probably a good thing to have everybody sit down and go through that and hear from Mr. Baston out at the sheriff's department. So we've got those 2 dates set up. And while I'm on that topic, I think I set some up for Greg too out at Highway. So both Highway and 189 will be going through that.
Mr. Featherling?
Board members be included in that training?
We
'Cause this is
can, if
probably
there,
where your active shooter is gonna.
how should I say this? I don't know if I want to tell you guys that I overlooked you or not, but I
This is the
suppose.
room where somebody might get mad.
I suppose I don't have an issue with that. Andy, do you have anything to add? I certainly don't.
I think it's relevant.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I would say if anybody's interested in attending, we do have limited space. Obviously, we're going to have it in here, and we've got 2 classes. So if you June 23rd or July 7th, if you just want to let me know, give me a call, shoot me an email, text, or whatever. You can let me know today if you want, and I'll add you to the list if you're interested in attending.
Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, Wes, will you also incorporate the city of Kankakee in this as well too?
This was just for this building and county employees.
Well, it's in the city of Kankakee. I mean, there's got to be an interface and a collaboration on that, not just Mike.
No, this was employee-related training for the county buildings in this building. If we want to expand upon that, I mean, I'm willing to do whatever is the pleasure of the committee. But this was, like I said, an employee-based training that Ms. Speckman asked me to look into. So
I was just wondering if you let Passwater know what you're doing, and maybe they can have a representative as well too. Also, my major question: do we have panic buttons? And
yes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have panic buttons. There's an all page on the phone system, so there's several things that we'll go over with the employees at the meeting, from A to Z. If something were to happen, what do we do? What's the procedure? How do we hit the all call on the phones? What's the message over the phone? So there'll be a lot of that stuff that Mr. Baston will go over when he's here. So.
Thank you.
Chairman Wheeler?
yes, I can tell you that the panic buttons do work. I think it was the second day I was here, I accidentally hit it in my office, stretching in my chair. Yeah. So Kankakee's Finest was there within 3 minutes. So they're very connected to what we're doing here, believe me. Yeah.
That's what I wanted
Yeah. First-hand account of said effectiveness.
Yeah, we do.
Where's our panic button here? Chairman, you got one? He's got one.
Got one down here. And also got my hands. I can just go crazy with that too.
All right, moving on. At the courthouse, keeping with the theme of compressor issues, we've had issues there as well. Excuse me. Unit on the east side needs to probably be reset once a day, so I got to keep an eye on that daily, especially with the heat like it is. So we've been working through issues with that unit for probably a year now. The basement floor plan is moving along, working with Doug Bright. So everyone's aware, the last timeline that I had was we should be ready to go out to bid on the basement project by late summer. And hope there's a lot of coordination that's going to need to happen, but hopefully, early winter, late fall, hopefully get to work in the basement. Now there's, like I said, there's a lot of coordination that's going to need to happen before any hammers are going to be swung down there. So that's just a tentative timeline as of now. Tree removal, we had to remove a tree on the south side. There was a large dead tree on the south side, so that's since been removed. And that brings me to my next point, and I'm not necessarily looking for any direction today, but it's something I think we need to be aware of. In the last 3 to 4 years since I've been here, I want to say we've probably lost 4 or 5 trees at the courthouse. I know we've lost a couple in the front. I know the one in the back. So maybe it's only 3. It seems like more than that, though. So that might be something that we'll probably have to work with the Historical Society if the board wants to look at. I know Andy's talked about potentially maybe looking at a landscaping plan, but definitely if we want to add some trees, given that we've lost so many, that may be something we want to do. So does anybody have any comment on that?
Mr. Chairman?
The thought that the Historical Society had, and they had started down this road, was to look at old photographs and recreate the layout of the courthouse originally with the lined trees on the walkway. I love the idea. So they kind of stopped on that project. They were going to get a consultant. I think they had a grant for it. So they can't, how do I put this? They don't have purview over to say what goes on the courthouse lawn, but I think we should use them in that manner. And then if they come back and it says, oh, you need $200,000 to redo the lawn, then we'll have to talk about it. from the consultant. But if the committee wants to go that direction, we can throw it over to Delbert and the Historical Society and Michelle Sadler and see what they want to pick it back up again. We're gonna need trees, and we don't want the ones that drop stuff all the time, like the nuts and the whirlies and all that other stuff. So that part has to be well thought out, but then also the layout of the lawn itself. So, what do you guys think? Send it to them, Historical first? Or just come up with something on our own, or just plant a couple trees?
I don't know. My personal opinion would be to rely on their opinion first, because they've been doing this for a long time and they know. But I don't know what else everybody else actually.
Also maybe bring in, it maybe necessarily be a macro group, but the Kankakee cultivators as well too. They do a lot of good stuff. And does DNR provide trees free of charge? Does anybody know?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I know there was a program in Kankakee, and it is in the city. Chip Roram had something to do with it, where they give you the tree if you promise to take care of it. And it's the right kind of tree. The kind that doesn't grow up fast and then have branches falling all over the place. So we can investigate that too. I know the Bar Association wanted to buy us some trees at one point. So I'm assuming the trees are not going to be the cost. It'll be getting rid of the ones that are there if we're going to redo the design.
Right.
Yeah, in the city, I think they were being provided on the terrace area as well too.
Terrace program, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Got you. Go ahead.
Yes, another contributor we might consider is the Arbery Foundation. They donate things like that all the time for different projects, free of charge. Okay. So, but I also think it might be a good idea that we turn over to we look to the Historical Society for references as far as what the landscaping should look like. Maybe we won't come up to the original, but we'll have something that's fairly close and a project that we can start working on.
So I think at this point it's just like pretty much just suggestions coming from the committee that Wes will take into consideration and look more into. Is that what we're looking for here, is just a general agreement from the committee?
Those entities which were identified, Mr. Chairman, as well as Kankakee Cultivators, Chip Roram, as well too. I think all those individuals need to be consulted.
I think the first order of business would be, are we interested in the historical aspect? I mean, is that something we want to pursue? Because that gives me some direction. I mean, if that's what we want to do, then we need to get the Historical Society involved, maybe get Dell involved, and is that the direction we want to go with this? Yeah.
In addition to that, ascertain if indeed there's some grant funds out there as well too that may be able to assist us.
Okay. Got it.
Anybody else? Okay.
All right, now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the power washing at the old jail. So,
hallelujah.
Yes. So Jasmine was kind enough to put this together for your viewing pleasure, because there's no way I could have done this. So this will kind of give you an idea, a lot of before and afters. So she got some good video as well. Has everybody seen it? Has everybody been over there? It's a big difference. I've tried to power wash my patio over the years, and I've never had this much success. That's quite a difference, obviously. Mm-hmm. Not bad, I'd say. Money well spent. Looks really good. Oh yeah, the annex was done as well, but the annex wasn't nearly as dirty as the jail. Big difference.
Ms. Weber?
Thank you. Whose water bill?
Whose water bill? That'd be our water bill. Yeah, unfortunately.
It doesn't
No.
take as much as you think? It's just so powerful.
Yeah.
sprays less water.
And the method that they used to clean it didn't use a whole lot of water. It wasn't high pressure because of the stone and the potential to damage it. So
Is the treatment more than
yeah,
What's the treatment more than
Yeah.
water?
it wasn't a blast?
yeah.
I saw that it wasn't a blast, yeah.
Yeah, so really turned out great. Pac Pro Power Washing did the work. They're a local company, did an outstanding job. So nice to cross that one off the list. Let's see here. We've had some other roof issues at 189 that I'm currently working with a vendor on as well. Bathroom stalls, I've been working with Mr. Latham over there. We've got some bathroom stalls at the annex that need some attention. The new mini splits that we put in CCTV at the old jail have had some issues, so that should be a warranty issue, so nothing big there. The next item for the jail we've talked about is determining what we want to do with the windows. So we've talked about this at the the committee prior to this. Tuck pointing is needed around the windows. There's several cracks that need to be addressed, but that's something that's on my radar. Out at JCDC, the morgue and wash bay is done. We talked about that, I believe, maybe a month or two ago. That work has since been completed. All the paneling 5 or 6 feet down was removed and replaced. All the plumbing fixtures were detached and reset. That's finished. The flooring out there is done as well. Has anybody been out there to see the new flooring? Looks good. Yeah. Looks really good. So that's all done. I'm ordering a custom rug for the entry. So you remember the tile floor that came in, we took that out, and we're gonna put a large circular rug in the middle with the Sheriff's Department emblem on it. So it'll look, it should look really nice when we get that all done. What else? We had to do a lot of work on copper piping for our boilers. We had a lot of corrosion issues that was noted on our last inspection, so that's all been handled. And then I was just kind of going through what we've done out at JCDC over the last couple years, even the last year. You know, we've done copper piping, had to be removed and replaced for the storage tanks, the boilers, the flooring in public safety, the paint in public safety that we also did earlier this year. We've stripped and waxed numerous floors, the LED light upgrade, the new emergency lighting system that was put in, the new UPS that was put in for master control in phase 2. We removed and replaced the glass in the front doors out there because that was scratched. And then if you remember, we updated all the cameras in that whole place about a year ago as well. So I feel like, you know, the amount of work that's gone into that building over, you know, say the last year and a half has been considerable. And, you know, but like we've talked about, it's an aging building just like the rest of what we have right now. So there has been a lot going on out there. And our current state of events, you know, my plate, you know, it's jammed. I mean, I don't know that we can squeeze anything else in right now. And my guys have been outstanding. I mean, because I can't do all this on my own, and I lean on them to manage their buildings, and they've all done an outstanding job. Because when we have this amount of work going on, you need everybody to buy in, and I'm happy to report that the group has been outstanding because we've been very busy. And then with this heat, the air handlers are strained, and you know, there's just been so much work lately. And you know, if they were here, I'd tell them to their face, but everybody's done an outstanding job. So that's all I got.
Wes, I do appreciate all the good news that you brought up to this committee today about the elevator, you know, the penthouse and everything else, the power washing. So that's great. It's nice to hear. And I know you're very busy, you and your guys there. I know you don't want to have anything else, but I just want to ask you not to take an action, but ask you a question about Mr. Layton made a comment yesterday morning about the situation with the carpet and also the bathroom at that building. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I touched on that, and that was the bathroom stalls that we talked about, that I talked about in my report. The carpeting, I didn't discuss that, but yes, so there's some bathroom stalls that need to be replaced, so I have to get a vendor over there and a couple bids for that. And then I haven't had a chance to meet with Tom yet, but when I do, I'll get over there and we'll get a couple bids on the flooring, and then we'll bring it back to the committee and we'll discuss and see which direction we're headed. So, Andy.
Chairman Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Wes also advised after the committee meeting that the public defender had a similar request on carpeting. I just wanted to kind of, and I reminded Tom of this, Latham over at probation. We're looking at projects that could involve the you know, like the basement of the courthouse, that could involve people that are in the building over probation right now.
Okay.
And so I would just advise that it's probably not a good idea to dump a bunch of money into new carpet right now if we're not going to be totally using every inch of that building in 2 years. Maybe we look at patching carpet, but definitely take care of the bathroom. That's my suggestion. Because if we redo the carpet in there and then it's just sitting there with nobody in that office because they moved into the courthouse, we haven't made those decisions yet. So I would kind of tap the brakes on putting a bunch of money into that building. I would patch carpet if we possibly can. That's just a I don't know if you agree with that, Wes, but it's a lot of
patching carpet is, I mean,
just a section worth worn.
Yeah, I mean that can be tough. I mean, we can look into some different, you know. Yeah, I mean, I've been so busy I haven't, and Tom just brought this to me. When did we talk about this? It was only a few days ago. I mean, so as soon as I can get with Tom, you know, I'll go over there and see what exactly, you know, he's looking at. And then, like I said, or like Andy said, Ed reached out. He's got a similar wish list, it sounds like. So I'll meet with Ed, I'll meet with Tom, see what they're looking at, get with Andy, get with you guys, you know, and we'll figure out which direction, you know, we want to head here.
Whatever they have, it's not as bad as the carpets in the circuit clerk's office and in this building.
And Steve's office.
And I'm just saying, you know, we got the sheriff's set, we're moving to other things now too. So, you know, I just want to mention that. To go putting money into things that we may not be occupying or using, it's probably not the best course.
Yeah, in my point all along, and I told Andy this the other day, we've got 14 air handlers in this building. Not a one of them is any good. So, I mean,
you know, I agree that we have to prioritize things, and I know that the courthouse is a priority. I agree with you on that, and I just asked the question because it was brought up.
Sure.
That comment, so I just want to know from you.
Yeah.
What you think about it, but.
No, I'll meet with him. We'll see what he has to say. I'll report back next month. And that was my comment to Andy. I mean, I don't mind doing carpet. I love doing carpet. I want things to look nice as much as everybody else. But when I'm constantly having vendors out here to charge our air conditioning units, and we're constantly having compressors go out, I mean, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, we're not talking about we're not talking about just one room with 2 rooms for carpet. We're talking about the whole thing, right?
I think it's a decent sized area. Yeah. So,
Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wes, just to reiterate what you said earlier about your staff, you know, with this weather and so forth, and you've done above and beyond the call of duty regarding performance. I mean, it's difficult. It's really difficult, and kudos to you. And you know, if you buy them pizza or whatever, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
They're on me for Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
I got one guy that's asked for Dairy Queen a few times, so I might have to break down. But I try to work with them the best I can. Like today, they wanted to mow, and they wanted to come in early to mow. You know, they're like, hey, can we come in at 5 to start mowing? I said, sure, you know. And so I'll let them cut out an hour early because they came in an hour early. So I try to work with them the best that I can, and I think they appreciate that. And then in turn, you know, they make me look good too. So,
but just let them know that how much we appreciate
I will.
The yeoman job they performed.
Definitely. That's all I got.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Is any old business come before this committee? Any old business? Okay. under the new business, we have the scope of, let's see here, judging the service proposal for Burke Engineering. Do we have anybody that's going to speak on this? Is that Chairman Wheeler going to speak on new business?
Sure, thank you.
Okay.
Well, in the packet, you see kind of like the amended version, if you will, the truncated version of the project that we're talking about. This is actually very, very, very exciting, extremely for me, because it's not another study. We're going to start doing some work on the river if this committee allows us to move forward, and it's a day that if you decide to give me the permission to solicit and receive the scope of work and the proposal from Burke Engineering for their end of it, you know, the design and the permitting of this project, we are going to utilize a $1 million appropriation that Senator Joyce got for us on removing sand from the Aroma Park boat launch area in the immediate area. How much sand $1 million will get us, and allow the rescue boats and the public to use that boat launch. People may or may not know that we can't get the rescue boat in the water from Aroma Fire, which is half a block away, because the sand is just all the way across to the island. It's dangerous. It will fill in an amount of time, but at that point we will have another solution in place to maintain it. But the first part of the funding, the $1 million, was elusive, and Senator Joyce came through, so we're able to put it to this committee. The first step is to get a full assessment and you know, of what the costs are and everything that's in your packet. There's a timeline in the back of it. Burke would, if this committee allows, and what I'm asking for is permission to a scope of services proposal that will give us they'll do some site visits, assessments, determine the current extent of the sand deposits in that area, because as you see in the pictures, it does move. Yeah. It does change, and when the river's high, you can't see some stuff that's an inch below the water, but from the view from above, I don't know if you can tell in the non-color versions of these drawings, but you can kind of see where it's at. And so we've identified the areas of where Burke thinks that it will do the most good. And they have done the bathymetry on that as well. Burke Engineering, in case the committee doesn't know, is the same group that put together the 40-year work plan with the Indiana River Commission for their side, and that it included the Iroquois and the Kankakee side, because we sit on that commission over there. The chairman of Iroquois County and I both sit there as non-voting members. And so we're kind of connecting our work to their work, because the river doesn't know where the state line is. Obviously, it's still just the river. So this first proposal is to let the residents and public safety enjoy the river safely and be able to get in the water, to do the things that we need to do and to enjoy the river, because the big fix is elusive. That's $250–300 million to stabilize the system here. And that's pending Indiana stopping the sand from coming, and the Iroquois River stop all the silt runoff from all the areas that are where it starts in Rensselaer, Indiana, and comes all the way into Aroma Park. So the goal of this is to let people enjoy the river safely. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words, because I've been working on this for like a year, you know, and Mr. Featherling can have comment. Him and Tinker Parker have been in my ear. When are we doing this? When are we doing this? The Aroma Fire Chief we got to get this going. And we're finally able to announce it today if you allow me to move forward. So
before going to Mr. Featherling here, I'm excited about this, because I've been waiting for quite a long time to see something done with the river. I think besides of public safety, you know, we're talking about historical parts of this county, and then we cannot, you know, discard that Kankakee River is part of that. And you know, it's an important thing. I think we need to do something with the river. People need to enjoy that safely. And I think the beauty behind it, it's also important. So I'm very excited that this is coming forward now to this committee for consideration. So before, Mr. Hunter, before going to you, let me go to Mr. Featherling first.
Well, I don't know how we stand on this, but I've been involved with this particular area and project for, I would say, close to 15 years. We've been trying to get this off. Oh,
Can't hear.
We've been trying to get this off the ground for probably at least 10, 15 years. A lot of people that were involved with it with me have passed away. Guys have retired, moved away. Army Corps guys have retired and they're not around, but I believe they could be contacted. But anyway, this is a really important part of this project. We're a good starting point. We really need to get it going as soon as we can. So I'd like to make the motion that we get it going as soon as possible.
Okay, we have a motion on that. Are you?
And seconding that motion, Mr. Chairman, I think what's key is the chairman has indicated action. In addition to collaboration, I know that in years past, I think Congresswoman Kelly, the chairman, and other individuals have taken a ride on the river. I'd like to see us do that as committee members, as technology permits in terms of a boat, notwithstanding the situation with the sand and silt and so forth. But I'm pleased too, and I've had conversations with the senator on this matter as well too, and I'm glad to hear that what the chairman has indicated in terms of the collaboration, that's what's really important in terms of county government, state government, and the other state as well too, working together towards this particular project. It's a good step in the right direction. You know, for those individuals who come after us, I mean, it's a daunting task in terms of addressing the problems that we have with our river. But I think, as the chairman has indicated, we want to utilize the river for our citizens and individuals, you know, for recreation and fishermen and other items that they may utilize the river for. So good stuff. And it shows the government can be proactive, and the key word is, without being redundant, is action now, as opposed to studies and surveys and all that kind of stuff. You know, we're doing some stuff that makes a difference.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Featherman?
Another one I'd like to talk about. We've been studying this for a long, long time, and it's always been a project that we've always come up with and planned and got together, but we were never able to fund before. And I met with Mr. Joyce, and we've gone over several things, the projects that we need to tie together with this particular project. But I really feel as though that it's going to be a check written and things happen, and people are going to see something actually happen instead of just talking about it happening along the Kankakee River. And I really think it's important. And the other fact that nobody has mentioned yet is 110,000 people drink the water out of the Kankakee River. And I would say it's even more than that. Mr. Wheeler back there, Aqua goes all the way, to University Park now with our river water? Andy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
University Park, and they're working with and Moni and everybody, Beatone, everybody's getting their water from Aqua. And there's a lot of people drinking out of that water. It needs to come through. In Indiana, they flood every year over there. And the Yellow River area really needs to help too, and this will begin a step towards helping everybody.
And this is a combination effort between this county, I believe you mentioned Indiana too?
Well, it's the engineer is the same engineer that we're using in Indiana.
Yeah,
So they're familiar with all of the hydrology and everything of our river system here. That's why, you know, it's a professional service, and that's who I'm bringing forward, because whatever bid that we would get from somebody else would probably have an extra 50 grand just to get up to speed on what's going on here. And then they're still not connected to the whole river system as has been with everybody else. So that's why I'm suggesting that we let Burke do it. Not because I enjoy their company and I know, you know, but I'm familiar with them. They're connected with a guy named Bob Barr from IUPUI, who's been working with John and a lot of people there's just a familiarity with that group. And they've studied the compendium. I've given them every river study we have, which was used to put into the work plan as a basis of work to be done. So that's why I think Burke is the right choice out of Indianapolis. And by the way, I didn't know if I'd mentioned, but we want this done for basically the summer of next year. So we're getting on this now and ready to do the work. There's a couple things that have to be worked out yet, and I'm meeting with the Park District and the mayor out in Aroma Park Kankakee Valley Park District is a dewatering station, because you have to get the water out of the sand before you truck it away. So I'm looking at, we have a solution, we're working through some of the details, but that's the last little thing that we'd have to do, but it can run parallel to this other, getting the scope documents already. I hope that makes sense. The bid has to include transportation and haul away, so we will have to have a dewatering location identified by that point. So,
Okay.
and DNR is gonna wanna know that too, so.
Any other comments?
The last comment I had is if Mr. Hunter wants, you know, him and myself and Mr. Featherling, maybe Mr. Dunno, Mr. Smith to get on a boat, like Jaws, you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
That's my only comment.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. I was literally, I want to do that, yeah.
Well, right now you don't need to go on the boat. Can you just walk across?
In this spot, you can walk across. You're right.
So. All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Fedlin and a second by Mr. Hunter. Is that not correct? Okay. So that would be a voice vote then. Everybody in favor signify by say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Can we do a voice, I mean, not voice, a roll call? Because, you know, so we can be on the record for this thing. I don't want to.
Well, yeah, we're not gonna spend any money, but upon request of Mr. Hunter, we can do a voice, a roll call. Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell? Ms. Weber? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Hudson? Mr. Smith? Mr. Raymond? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Any other business? Do we have any other business coming before this committee? I hear no other business. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Smith? Ms. Hodson? Second? Everybody in favor signify by say aye. Anybody opposed? The same sign.